In those 12 years, what's the biggest problem you've had?
My coach is an old coach, and they answer that phone on a Sunday morning. They'd call me back to help me.
What's your favorite thing about Newell Coach? Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a special guest on the channel. I'm hanging out here in Miami, Oklahoma at the Newell Coach factory, and I ran into Morris. How you doing today, sir?
Just fine, Andrew. Just fine. Here for a little service.
Yes, sir. So you've got a 2007 Newell now?
Yes, I do. I've had it for a number of years.
When did you purchase your 2007 Newell?
In 2009.
Okay. Newell's at the highest level of motor coaches that you could buy. What made you choose a Newell coach over other coaches?
Well, I'll tell you, Andrew, I had a Travel Supreme in 2005. It was the predecessor to Integra Coach. And I had made a journey around the country. And on the way back to Louisiana, where I'm from, I had an issue and I had a fire in the coach. And the coach burned. Prior to that, I was coming home and I stopped at a FMCA rally in North Carolina, and this is about in 2006. And I'd never seen a Newell before. And they had a salesman at that time. I was looking at all the coaches, and I saw Newell, and I was caught because there were two parked together, and the back wheels were kind of, they had that rear steering in it, and they were the only one at that time. So I just went in there and I talked to them, and I looked at the coaches. The salesman at that time was Sam Robinson, who's no longer here, and he gave me the information about a Newell. One of the things that he impressed me about was at that time, Newell had a stainless steel engine compartment, which was kind of fire retardant, and they had a halon fire extinguisher over the generator on board, and it was really designed for fire protection. So this was 1 week before my coach burned. I went on to Louisiana, and I was headed to Buckhorn over in Texas, and I crossed the bridge in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and my Travel Supreme caught on fire. It burned to the ground. And at that time, the insurance company contacted me and said, I had $1 amount, I didn't have a replacement. So I settled with them immediately because it was a total loss. And I told my wife, I said, Vicki, we've been in the motorhome business for about, 3 years. And I said, you always lose money when you buy a coach. So I said, I got the insurance check. This is an opportunity to get out without losing too much money. And that was in 06, and I was a good bit younger. And I said, Vicki, what are we going to do now? I mean, we either get out, but I mean, what do we like to do as a sport? And we enjoyed the couple of years we had that coach and enjoyed the lifestyle. So we decided to get back in. And so that's what ended up getting me a Newell, because it was the fire. After that fire, we were very paranoid about it. And that's why I ended up with a Newell.
So your first Newell was this Newell, or was it a previous Newell before this?
The first one I bought was, to be honest with you, Sam had a coach he wanted to show me here. When I called him, this was after the fire. I didn't know I was going to even call him back, because I didn't know I was going to buy another coach. And he says, we have something we can show you. Fine. Right before I came up here, I did a little search on, it was RV Trader, RV on one of those places that had coaches. And I had an appointment to be on a Monday morning. So my wife and I got in the car and we drove up to Tulsa and spent the night. But the night before we left, I Googled that, and there was a company called Ugly John's Boat place. And he had a bookkeeper that had a Newell that was a year and a half old. It was in 05 and this was in 06. And so I said, I'll stop and look at it. So we spent one night. We were going to be here Monday. We stopped Sunday and stayed in Tulsa at a hotel. And we went to look at that coach, and I called Sam Robinson and said, we'll be there in the afternoon. So we checked that coach out, and we liked it a lot, but we came here. And when I got here, he had a couple of used coaches, because that was our budget. And he didn't exactly have the one we looked at. A coach fits people. They
checked all the right boxes. Yes,
well,
sir.
You have to. So we were very impressed with that other coach. So we ended up buying that coach. And they were nice enough here, the man that sold it to me, I can't remember his name, it was a 2-year warranty on that coach. And they were allowed it to get transferred because they had 6 months left on the warranty. And, we were kind of worried about that. So for that much money, we wanted some protection, and they transferred. And that's when I met Tommy, who was the head of the service for a while, and we came here, and they let us do that. We ran it hard for 6 months, and whatever problems we had, they corrected it, and I kept that one for another couple of years. Well, I kept it until 09. I did.
And then what caused you to step up from your 05 to the 2009 that you still have 12 years later now?
Yes. Well, it's actually the exterior color scheme was basically the same stripes and everything, and the colors were the same, and we liked that. What caused it was basically, and I'll be honest with you, there was two things I didn't like about the coach. I did like the mid-entry, but the things I didn't like, I didn't care for the ZF transmission, and I didn't care for the Murphy bed. That's just Morris's particular. Everybody's different. It's just I didn't care for those things. And when I came here, the coach was for sale, and it was an opportunity. And it had a regular bed, and it had an Allison transmission, and it's got a cat motor, which I liked. And I've really never had an issue with the engine. It's run perfectly all these years. I got 100,000 miles.
How many miles did it have when you bought it?
I think it had 24,000.
Okay, so you've put 75,000 miles in the last 12 years?
Yeah, because I don't live in it, but I use it, to travel and sightsee and vacation.
Yeah, now I've got to ask, in those 12 years, what's the biggest problem you've had?
The biggest problem, I'll have to think a second. I've had, when you use something, it breaks. I've had, just a lot of different things. I've had issues. One time the slide didn't want to work right, but they repaired that, and there were a lot more. I'd say more little problems than big problems.
Yeah. So so the slide, the one time in 12 years the slide out didn't work was probably your biggest problem, would you say?
Yeah, but they corrected that because there's these bearings that it rolls on, and sometimes they get out of whack. But the technicians here are really good at that, and they know you can get other people to try to repair things, but these people know where each screw is. I mean, they really know these Newell coaches, and I've just been very satisfied. Look, my coach is an old coach, and I'm up here right now. I got hit last week. My coach was in Kerrville, Texas. It went below zero, and they lost electricity at Buckhorn Lake Resort, which is an RV park. And I'd left it there to go back home in my car for Christmas.
Oh, shoot.
And so when they lost that electricity, there's no heat in the belly. My friend couldn't get in the coach because I had the key.
Oh, no.
And so we had some issues because it wasn't the coach's problem. It was the cold weather that broke things because I wasn't there to start the generator, and they lost power on the pole. Which
a rare occurrence, natural disaster, yeah.
A number of people were hit by that ice,
yeah.
and all over the country, but that's the first time that ever happened over there.
So was the coach winterized?
Well, actually, no.
What kind of problems stemmed from that?
Well, mostly some of the pipes in the bottom. Well, the PEX pipe feeding the toilet, because the heaters in the bottom would automatically come on if the power was on. But when there's no heat and there's water in those lines, the ones that feed the toilets, they were cracked.
Yeah.
The Aquahot has water feeding it. The line that fed the Aquahot had cracks in it.
Which is expected.
Exactly.
If that happens.
But they fixed it. Now, the other things, once we fixed that, which I was going to get, a guy helped me fix one toilet so we could get here. I wanted one. And he and I, they overnighted me a valve. It's a button it's a valve that goes in there to flush the toilet. And we installed one just because I wasn't going to travel this far without a bathroom. And we got one bathroom working. Then I said, I'm saddling this coach up and I'm going up to Newell, which is what I did. And they overnighted that valve to me. When I got here, they replaced the other one. Every little thing that was broken, they fixed. Now, I've had a water pump go out, but that's been repaired, but not on this trip. I've had issues with a generator. I've had like the average person who has a motor.
Every RV, yes, sir.
Well, it's a Newell. The key, I think, is that their service is so good. I mean, I call up here And here I am in Texas, and my coach is an old coach, and they answer that phone on a Sunday morning. They'd call me back to help me start the engine because it had been started in 3 months, and they would work with me on that phone. That's the type of thing you don't get with other coaches, and I have to be honest about that. That's true.
That would make you, I can definitely see why you've hung on to this coach for 12 years. Now I've got to go ask, going back to the slide out, because I try to look at the worst case scenario to give people on YouTube an understanding that, try to show all the different sides of RVing. When your slide out got stuck in, did you call the fact, or was it stuck, or did you call, or how did that situation play out? Did you before you got it fixed?
Well, I'll tell you what, they're fixing it now. What happened was this: when I got there, I started the engine in the back is the way to start it, because it had been sitting down for 3 months. It aired up, then my door would open, I got in, and then the first thing I did was open the slide. So I started it, made the loop, and when I got to this one slide here behind the passenger seat, I pushed the button and it started going out. And when it got almost to the end, it stopped. And normally at that point, the floor would raise. And so I'll be honest with you, I kind of forgot. I hadn't done this in a while, so I forgot what to do. So you know what I did? I picked up the phone and I called Newell. And the man got on the phone, called me right back. And he asked me to look at, there's a little thing behind there that tells you different things. And I answered the questions. And he says, I think you've burned a fuse. At first he said you probably forgot something, and when it went back it got caught and got in a bind. And I said, I don't know, but I looked under there, I didn't see anything. So he says, well look, there's a fuse, there's a fuse for that slide, but it's in the bottom. I said, well, where in the bottom? So he actually, now I should have known this, because I've had that coach a while, but I couldn't remember. And he walked me through, we went downstairs, there's a spare fuse behind that fuse where they have two behind on this rum slide. It is the number 4, and it's the one that raises the floor that it was burned. And he told me exactly what, actually I got my wife because I couldn't get in there, I'm a little heavy. But she helped me get the fuse out, we changed it, and then he was on the phone the whole time. I had it on speaker, and I went to close it, and it started going like it was kind of stuck. And so I didn't go out with it. I brought it in, and because they have equipment here to support it, special tools to hold it up where they could work on that. So because of the broken pipes, I decided to come in and let them do it. But they were nice enough to walk me through, tell me how to change the fuse, get it to where I could drive it, and I stayed 2 days, fixed that toilet, and I came here.
Well, that's pretty good. So in 12 years, if those are the biggest problems you got, you're doing pretty good.
Well, I've had other small problems, but they've worked with me with everyone.
Yeah. Now, is there any advice that you would have for anyone that's thinking about purchasing a Newell coach or just purchasing an RV in general?
Well, an RV is a big investment. And, you can't go into, I've learned this, I didn't know it initially, but you can't really go into RVing without kind of being prepared. It's like a boat to spend a little bit of money, because when you use something, and these big things go down the road and they shake and things break, and so you need to be prepared to, no matter whether because I had Holiday Rambler, I had problems with all of them, but the biggest thing is the service here that you can't get anywhere else. I had the Travel Supreme, the Holiday Rambler. There's people you can talk to, but these people know these coaches, and it's the same 40 or 50 people in here. So over 12 years, I know most of the people, and they know my coach. So I think it's a really interesting lifestyle. I've met many people throughout the country RVing, and I've traveled and seen places I probably wouldn't have never seen, and I've really enjoyed it. So I think you think about it, budget for it, and enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more question. What's your favorite thing about Newell Coach?
My favorite thing, I like the rear steering. There's an active and a passive. This one's active. I like that. I like the finish. I've seen a lot of Prevost, and but I don't know, Newell is built on its own chassis, so it's solid, and it rides really good. And you know, I just think it's a good coach. I wouldn't have stuck with it that long. I could have bought another one, but I just like this one. I thought about upgrading, but the one I have, I'm used to it. You know what they say, when you get your bugs out? I know, I get up in the middle of the night and I know those buttons in my head. I don't have to think about which one will turn the light on the floor on at night to walk down here to go to the bathroom. You know, you learn a coach. And if you don't like this one, you get another one, but get the one you like and learn it and stick with it. I think that might be bad advice. I'm not trying to get a new one every year.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, it just shows too the quality of your coach, that you've kept it for 12 years and you're investing in maintaining it and keeping it up to par.
Yes.
And
we changed the floor. We didn't care for carpet, so we put a wood floor in the front. My wife wanted that. And you know, we've changed maybe a sofa here and there. But the basic coach is solid, and the systems are it's like 2 water pumps, and the wiring is so much better. I mean, it seems to me, you know, it's just I don't know that I'm not a mechanic or an engineer, but it seems I had that other coach and there was just issues with the wiring and stuff like that. So
it's a much more kind of industrial style build, much more solid, and no. Yeah. And then I gotta grab one more question out of you. If you could go back and change anything or do anything differently in your Newell Coach experience, purchasing a Newell Coach, would you do anything differently?
Push them a little bit hard on the deal, but
always, of course, you're a good negotiator.
Try.
I think that's how you get to the level where you can afford one of these Newell coaches.
Again, I've met so many. There's such a cross section of people that own these coaches. I mean, you meet so many people from all over, and it's like a club. They all are. The Travel Supreme was, you know, the Holiday Ram. They're like clubs. So you meet people with the same type of coach. You have a lot of things, and you socialize, and then you enjoy it. And that's what we try to do.
Anything else that you want to share with the folks out on YouTube at all?
No, I'll put a feather in your hat. I mean, I saw your interviews with with the Liberty Coach people, and there's an RV park down in Florida. You did something with those people.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's good because I like to listen to your program, and I've just seen it a couple of times. And I certainly didn't think I'd ever be sitting on it, but here I am.
Well, I greatly appreciate you taking the time, and you know, the people like you that are willing to share this information is what it's all about for me. So I can't thank you enough, as well as the team here at Newell Coach, for letting us take the time to interview. So can't thank you enough.
Well, and thank you. I've enjoyed it. I thought it would be. I thought I was a little nervous, but that's the first time I've been on a camera, so I'm not too. But I did okay.
Well, you did very well. And I'll tell you what, if you guys want to drop a comment below and let me know if you think Morris did a good job his first time in front of the camera, I greatly appreciate all of you out there liking these videos and subscribing to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.